Hi, this is Lynn Reilly, author, licensed professional counselor, master energy therapist, and your host of Living Serendipitously. Today, I'm going to be talking about how to practice the pause and manage impatience when life seems confusing and we feel like we do not know what is happening. We are going to look at the root cause of the discomfort of waiting and how not just to make it more comfortable, but make the wait actually work for you. You know those confusing moments where you feel like life is going downhill real fast and you're not sure what to do about it? Those moments can be really, really tough. I know. You're going along and making decisions that feel good, and life is rolling smoothly, and then suddenly you hit a roadblock. One you just don't see coming or it makes any sense of why it would be there. And then you feel stuck and unsure of what to do next. Sometimes in those moments, actually, oftentimes in those moments, the very best thing that you can do is nothing. Practice the pause. Practice the pause in decision making and wait for more information to present itself. And that can be terribly uncomfortable in itself. I get that too. Most of us, by nature, we don't like to wait. We aren't taught to do it well. Even the idea of waiting makes you squirm in your seat. We live in a society that continues to make everything easier for us by giving it to us faster. But what is that doing to our ability to wait for just about anything? We stop living in the moment and appreciating the now in front of us. And that's what we are going to look at today. How to come back to the moment and make it work for you so you can practice the pause a little easier. You can learn more of these simple life-enhancing practices in my working book, 30 Days to Me, which can be found on my website, livingwithserendipity.com, along with my children's book, The Secret to Beating the Dragon, as well as through sacredstoriesmedia.com, the amazing company working with me to support you. So here we are, and at times our life hits us with some challenging moments, and we do not know what to do about it. We don't get it. And actually, it's super annoying. Even when you know and believe that things will work out, and I truly do believe this, that does not necessarily take away from the discomfort while waiting for things to actually work out. But let's look at why waiting is so important at times. When unexpected life events and experiences pop up, and they always do, our go-to is to quick fix any discomfort out of it. We want to abolish the fear and the pain and dismantle any threat of our safety. I mean, why wouldn't we? Feeling the pain kind of sucks. So we try to quickly problem solve our way out of the pain. We look for our go-tos and our distractions to make it go away. We do internet searches looking for answers. We ask friends for advice. We get angry at the people in our life we think are causing our pain. Or we swear at the universe for setting us up without any clear escape route to fast forward out of whatever we are experiencing. Most of us just don't like it. We don't like the confusion and the discomfort and the pain that comes with it. I don't either. In fact, it irritates me like crazy. Right up until I remember the techniques that help to take the edge off, to practice the pause and wait for more information, because it always comes, every time. Not always when you want it, but always when you need it. That is for darn sure. And I'm going to be totally honest with you here. This is a practice I'm continually challenged by. My mind thinks at a high speed and sorts through information quickly when I'm working with other people, so I assume and I expect that I should be able to do this all the time for myself. But I can't, and I'm not supposed to, and neither are you. You aren't supposed to always have the answers right away. It's almost like you are given blinders sometimes, so you can't see the next steps, so you don't get stuck on one target. Meaning, if you are putting all of your energy into one direction, you may not see a direction that is better suited for you and your needs. And when you can't see it, you may be more open to the options that present themselves. And that is a practice in itself, being open and allowing opportunities, different choices. But you can't always see the full picture at times because there are other steps for you to learn before you hit your destination that will only make its arrival that much better and more rewarding when you get there. And you've seen this in your own life. You've had lots of experiences where if one event didn't occur before the other, it wouldn't have worked. There's a true flow to this waiting period that is meant to benefit you so you ultimately get what you need. You may not always see it in the wait, but you can appreciate it when you arrived. So if we can agree that when you don't have the answers, waiting for more information is an effective way to respond, we've got proof of that. We've got lots of different experience that would suggest it. We can also agree that sometimes waiting really sucks. I'm assuming here that if you don't like the wait, but I'm not assuming that I don't. I rarely say, oh wow, I feel stuck and I'm in pain and I'm so happy I don't have the answers to move through this comfortably. No. I'm just as impatient as everyone else, which is why these practices are ones I personally rely on to not drive myself nuts. In fact, while preparing for this podcast, the ideas were not flowing together, and I was so frustrated because I could see all the pieces in my head that wanted to come out, but they weren't supposed to until I practiced the techniques and concepts I share with you. So I would actually be clear about what was being shared. Those ideas did not meet my self-imposed deadlines, and they did not care that I was annoyed and ready to move on. They were not going to come to my awareness and click until it was just the right time. And that can be so frustrating. And like you, I want what I want when I want it. But me wanting is not enough. I have to be ready to receive it. And so I practice. And these are the practices I know help. First of all, the key is to allow the information to come to you and to be open to receive it. So the quickest way to be open to receiving is to clear your energy and your internal clutter to make room for the information coming in. Seems like it should be easy, right? Except when we take on the anxiety of impatience, when we feel it, we need it sooner than it's ready to come. You know what doesn't help? Stress from impatience, anxiety, over-questioning, over-analyzing, looking at the problem with the same lens moment after moment, expecting a different view. This kind of behavior can actually be clogging and slowing down our vibration. And when we slow down our energy with worry and frustration, we are not in a great position to hear or notice what we are being given. So how do we clear our energy and be ready to receive? We go back to the basics. That's right. Do what brings you joy. Day 22 of 30 Days to Me working book looks at why waiting feels like such a challenge. The root cause of the discomfort is actually quite simple. We are not living in the moment, and in turn, we're not enjoying the moment. If you think about an average day where you have to wait, we work pretty hard at avoiding the discomfort of waiting. I mean, if you think about even going into an office and think about how a typical waiting area is set up, you often have books or magazines that are out for you to enjoy the time where you are sitting, or there's a television on that can keep you distracted. If you like the article you're reading or the program you're watching, the wait seems easy. It seems effortless. If you don't like what you're doing, then the wait seems hard and painful. Or you go into a restaurant and the host staff tells you it's a 30-minute wait. Most likely, your initial reaction will be, ugh, I don't want to wait. I'm starving. I don't want to be here forever. My time is so valuable and waiting is not, etc., etc. But if you like the company you are with and there is a place to be with that company, whether a comfortable seat or at the bar with a drink in your hand, you don't mind waiting at all. You can get caught up in discussion or enjoy the time together that might actually be rushed while sitting at the table preparing to order. The time seems to fly by and the moments seems few because you were lost in them with contentment. And that is exactly the point. Your perception of the moment is going to impact how you manage the wait. When you like the moment and what you're doing, it will be easy and fun. How you perceive the moment is what will determine what makes it enjoyable or not, and just how long that wait really is. When you do bring what brings you joy into a moment, you have stopped thinking about your problem, and you create room in your mind for more information and ideas to come in. So the practice of doing things that bring you joy, as discussed in day 1 of 30 Days to Me, has an extraordinary amount of power to help you not just improve your health and emotional well-being, it allows you to reconnect to yourself and the guidance you're waiting for. I think it's often true that the answers typically come when we're not looking for them. So, we might as well enjoy the ride while we wait. While I was waiting for this podcast to come together, I tried lots of different things. I tried deep sighing to invoke inspiration. That didn't work. I tried getting mad at myself for being a so-called expert and yet not being able to pull it together. Yeah, that didn't work either. Telling my kids I had a deadline and putting extra pressure on myself. Nope, not helpful at all. I was creating more stress the more I was thinking about it, and my mind was going blank from anything that felt positive. So I stopped, and I used another practice that works well to clear internal clutter and raise my vibration to receive. I practiced stillness. Day 5 of 30 Days to Me has a 5-minute practice of being still each day to build on our comfort level of enjoying the moment and being comfortable in it. A practice of meditation is a beautiful way of really creating a space to appreciate unexpected time lapses and make them work for you. The more you build on that practice, you can reap some incredibly awesome benefits from the spaces in between where you are and where you want to be. That's what we're looking at, the space in between. How do we make it work for us? And that includes receiving information. Hearing your intuitive voice speak to you. Divine guidance, inspiration, whatever we're calling it, can flow in more easily when we are quiet than when we are actually distracting ourselves with static and noise and distractions from outside sources. During that practice of stillness, we can also ask for help. Ask your higher self, the divine, the universe, to show you the signs of help along the way. The more you practice being still and comfortable in the stillness, the easier it becomes to hear the answers that are ready to join you. I often ask for help and guidance during my stillness practice, and sometimes I receive a strong flow of information, and sometimes I'm just given what I need to get to the next moment. When I asked for help while creating this podcast, I felt the urge to stop what I was doing and go for a run. And I'm going to be honest with you, that guideline annoyed me. I did not feel like going for a run. In fact, I don't even really like running, but I know that movement and exercise is the quickest way to relieve mental and emotional symptoms of discomfort and energy. And I love the way I feel after, so I reluctantly said, fine. I really just wanted to get it done, but that was the guidance I was receiving. So I stopped what I was doing and I went on the treadmill. I talk about the benefits of regular movement more on day 4 of 30 Days to Me and how the quick energetic shift and feel-good chemicals easily creates more flow for us, not just to receive the answers to our questions, but to just feel physically and mentally clearer and cleansed. Huge and ongoing benefits all around. And so what happened during my run is I actually started to receive more clear ideas and the dots started to connect on what I was looking for. I felt so excited and I couldn't wait to write them all down, and I did. I wrote them down like right away. I thought, okay, this is it, I'm in. But still, the dots weren't fully connecting, and I didn't have all the information I needed to pull it all together. I had much more than I started with, but I knew I wasn't going to meet my own deadline, and the frustration started to kick in again. My next practice was again ask for help. So I asked the universe to hook me up with some inspiration and signs of where to go. It's easily one of my favorite practices, especially when I start to see them all around me. On day 6 in 30 Days to Me, I talk about the miracles and synchronistic moments and experiences that are designed to help us along the way. They are the inspiration and validation that we seek and the roadmap on what sometimes seems like an awfully long and crazy scavenger hunt to understand our next move. And they're always there, and they happen for all of us, these miracles and synchronistic moments. The way to see this is to practice allowing them into your awareness and have fun with understanding their meaning. Sometimes I think that's the coolest part. When you are starting to see them, it can be a fun game to enjoy all the messages and clear signs leading you along the way. My signs when I asked for help while putting this podcast together were feeling the pull to look up quotes on waiting and quickly having two of them pop right up that identified my fears I was feeling in the moment. Immediately, my sense of loneliness and confusion began to dissipate. Ah, yes, that was right. At that time, I was reminded that leaning into the pain, feeling the discomfort, is often the quickest way out of it. I had to allow myself to feel the frustration and see it for what it was. Fear. Fear of not meeting my own expectations. Fear of not meeting your expectations. Fear that maybe this time the answers really wouldn't come as I believed they would. What if I was wrong? I let myself see the fears for what they were and talk to them. I understood their message, and then I told them that we'd work through it, and at the end of the day, we've never been left behind before. Why would it start now? I re-engaged the voices of faith that ultimately it all works out the way it's meant to be. I made that moment work for me by allowing the fears to speak, to show themselves instead of shove them down and shave them away. And then I felt some relief, which is another way to clear energy. Let it come up and out, whatever it looks like. Feel your feelings. Feel your pain. Talk to it. Feel it. Allow it to be what it is. So after I let those feelings surface, I felt no new guidance at all. And I knew it was again time to practice the pause and make the moment work for me. So I stopped what I was doing and I took a salt bath to calm my system and clear my energy even more. I also love salt baths and I always have them on my joy list, so I was glad to try this practice next. So while I was in the bath, I began to let go more, and I felt the reminder of faith that it really was all going to come together once I let go of the problem and practice what I preach. Enjoy the moment and live in it. And so I did. I felt no new guidance. Well, that's not true. The guidance I felt was enjoy the moment, go live your life, do what makes you happy. And so that's what I did. I spent the rest of my night with my kids, making dinner together and decorating gingerbread men and talking and laughing and having great conversations with my really beautiful and insightful teenage daughter that made me so happy. I felt in the flow and totally connected to both her and myself. It felt awesome. I went to bed with my heart full and my mind really just decluttered, which made space for this podcast to make its way into my awareness and yours. And once again, I'm delighted when it works itself out and how much better it is to not fully torture myself along the way. And know I am still learning as well. Now, you may be thinking, Lynn, the stress of meeting the deadline for a podcast is not that big of a deal. That's not the kind of stuff I'm worried about and feeling impatient on. I know. I'm well aware. But no matter the issue, the question at hand, the need for more information, and the impatience that comes with it, the process is the same. To practice the pause to wait for more information is a wise and effective practice. And to decrease the worry and unease while waiting, making the moment work for you is always going to relieve some of the challenges around it. So I'm giving you a simple example of how it played out for me putting this together, but I could give you 100 more examples that would seem far more scary and more impactful than the practice. The practice really is the same, essentially, at the end of the day. So, and how it happens always looks different. I've watched people lose jobs and have no idea what to do next and have no choice but to wait and see what comes up. I've actually been in that place myself. I've listened to people lose their housing and have no roof over their head and have no idea how to proceed when there are roadblocks to every solution they come up with. I've seen relationships shift in really dramatic and unexpected ways to create challenges so it would be shaken up to go in a different direction. I've watched this in my seat as a professional counselor, but I've also experienced many of these myself. And you know, when it's happening to you, when it's not happening to you, I should say, you can take the emotion out and watch for the details and patterns of what's being presented. And it's much easier to be in awe when you see the information come in a step at a time for someone else, and truly see how everything works out when you give it the space to do so. And then we have this choice of how we want to use our guidance. This is why we have so many experiences that seem to build on each other, because they are. When you slow down enough to notice them and observe how one opportunity leads to another, and you learn something new each time, you begin to see the proof that pausing to receive the information and next steps is the most productive thing you can do. If you don't know which direction to go because you don't have enough information, then wait. Allow yourself to be in the moment and let the next steps come to you instead of chasing them. Use the space, the pause to your advantage. Make the moments work for you to decrease any discomfort in the waiting. And then enjoy the outcome when it finally works itself out. That, of course, is always the best part. So for more techniques and practices on living serendipitously and with joy, as well as great self-awareness activities, check out the 30 Days to Me on livingwithserendipity.com and sacredstoriesmedia.com. And thank you again for listening, and I will catch you next time on Living Serendipitously with Lynn Reilly.